Welcome to the Influential Personal Brand Podcast. This is the place where we help mission-driven messengers just like you learn how to build and monetize your personal brand. My name is Rory Vaden, and I'm the co-founder of Brand Builders Group, a Hall of Fame speaker, and New York Times bestselling author. And this show is to help experts learn how to become more wealthy and well-known. I know you're going to love it. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. One of my favorite interviews we've ever had on this podcast is from a woman named Jen Kem, who we're going to hear from again today. Now, when she came on before, she was kind and generous enough to share a lot of secrets about how to monetize events and structure your events in a way to sell high dollar offers. And it blew my mind, like literally things that are so significant and monumental. So I was like, we have to have her back. And part of what we're having her back for is she has a new book that is coming out. And so let me give you the full rundown on Jen. So she has been named as a top brand strategist by Forbes, and she specializes in sort of like just launching innovative ideas with high performing teams. And she's done that for big companies. She's done that for personal brands. But she has what she calls the unicorn innovation model. And that's been used by iconic brands like Oprah Winfrey Network, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Oracle, and a number of New York Times bestselling authors and keynote speakers and other thought leaders. So she knows our space really well. Obviously, she's one of us. And so her new book is called Unicorn Team: The 9 Leadership Types You Need to Launch Your Big Ideas with Speed and Success. So this is sort of like an innovation playbook on how to build a collaborative, harmonious, motivated team to help you achieve extraordinary results. So originally she is from Hawaii. She lives in San Francisco Bay Area with her husband and kids. And we're going to talk specifically about building a unicorn team for your personal brand so that you can have a team doing the stuff of running the business, and you can be the rainmaker and the content creator and the mission-driven messenger and have a team of people helping you behind the scenes. So Jen Kem, welcome back to the show, friend.
Oh, Rory, I'm so happy to be back. Thanks for inviting me back. It's such an exciting and exhilarating time.
So tell me about Unicorn Team,
hmm
why you wrote the book, why is it coming out now, like what this is all about, and let's just kind of start there at a high level. And then I'm gonna want to hear, since you've got unique experience as a personal brand and also serving personal brands, we can dive more into the details later. But just give me like, what is a unicorn team? Where does that title come from? And what's the book about?
Yeah, so little quick background on me. I spent over a decade and a half in the corporate world as an executive in marketing and strategy. And my main kind of personal brand in corporate, if you will, as an intrapreneur, an internal rainmaker, was I was a go-to-market specialist. So
Mm.
I was the person that they gave new ideas that the company wanted to bring to market and said, go make it happen. And when I became an entrepreneur myself in 2006, I realized that the same structures and strategies to bring an idea to market in corporate were actually the same for entrepreneurs, but entrepreneurs weren't seeing it through the same lens because a lot of times when we look at corporate, we think lots of like overhead, big teams, complexity, red tape, right? And I was like, actually, if I took away all of that, right, there's actually a structure and a framework to bring your idea to market better. And it really is related to the people. Now, because I was in charge of these new ideas that came to market back in the corporate days, everybody always thinks, okay, it's so cool. You brought brands to market, ideas that have changed the world, including like what a lot of things that we take for granted today. My last big project was actually at Verizon, who was competing with AT&T to bring what was called at the time IPTV, which is now what we know as video streaming. Okay. So video streaming, which is like we all love to watch Netflix and Hulu and all the things, but I was the last of the Mohicans, if you will, bringing that idea to market that was changing the way that we were entertained through cable TV, et cetera. And so this is the kind of projects that they always brought me in on, Rory, because not only is my like one of my gifts and talents that I have is that I can smell a winner, right? And so it's like I could take an idea and go, "Ooh, what's that idea that's going to win?" And then secondly, I figured out that no matter if the product is amazing, and even if you have a ton of resources thrown behind it, money, time, energy, it really was about the leadership driving that idea forward. And it was also about how does that leader motivate and inspire others to work on things that they don't even own, but they feel ownership of because there is this synergy. And when I became an entrepreneur, I didn't have what most of us don't have. Definitely, I didn't have a lot of money, time, or energy in terms of like, I was bootstrapping all of the things, right? I was trying
Mhm.
to figure things out. And my
That was
biggest,
about what I was going to say when you were saying
yeah,
about like, oh, the same things that applied for corporate go-to-market strategy apply to entrepreneur. Like to me, the biggest difference is just budget, right? It's like as an
yeah,
entrepreneur, we're bootstrapping, we're duct taping, we're hacking together.
100%.
But you basically figured out you need a leader that's activating the movement and activating the people to kind of sort of synergistically go above and beyond what it would be just like by the sum of the individual parts.
Exactly. And when I met Rory and his team, I remember if you recall, Rory, at the end of our 2 day strategy session that I invested in and was worth every penny. At the end, I said, I'm really impressed because you really have a unicorn team. And this was before my book had come out. And I told Rory my big book that I'm working on is called Unicorn Team. And when you read it, you're going to see that I'm like, Rory is built a unicorn team here. Um, and yeah, it's all about like it's picking the right idea and then having the right people. Those are like the two core
Mm.
things. And so when people think of team, I know what people usually think of, especially since we're talking about personal brands and how would they use this model to support them in reaching more people and being that mission driven messenger that you speak of, Rory. And what I think I see the most is that we talk about team in the habit of like operations, which is great because that is part of the team is like building out all the processes and structures and SOPs that run the business.
Sure.
But in my book, what I'm really talking about, what do you need to get the idea to market so that you can then afford any type of operational efficiencies and upgrades. So this is really the front end of the team, not the back end of the team. So that's also what makes the book different. It's like
You
how do
mean
you
like
actually
the marketing, like the kind of the announcement initiative, the marketing, the promote, like the team you need to promote something new.
yeah, exactly. So like and in a way that gets the internal people excited, but also gets the market excited. So now it creates this like internal and external impact as well when you do this first.
Yeah, well,
And
that is super relevant. I mean, how do you get the
mm-hmm,
market excited about your message? I mean, that's what every one of us cares about, right? You know,
mm-hmm,
as a personal brand. So then, who are the people? Like, what? So how do you build this unicorn team to
mm-hmm,
get the
mm-hmm,
message out to the world? Like, who am I
mm-hmm.
looking for? How do I find them? Where do I go?
So there's kind of like in the book, there's this three tracks that you need to be thinking of as a leader. So you're the leader, you're the personal brand, you're going, what do I need next? Who do I need next? Right. And so the first part is validating your ideas and validating your ideas yourself and having a model to do that or with a few core unicorns you trust. Like in your case, Roy, I assume it's your leadership team along with AJ and a few others that when you guys are thinking about what you're going to do next for the company and how you're going to support other people, you're prioritizing and validating the ideas that are worth investing time, energy, and money in, right?
Yep.
So in the book, that's the first key. So even before the who, the idea matters. So then we go to the who. Now, who do we actually need for this particular idea? And that is key because we some of us have a staff already. Some of us as personal brands are like going, I want to keep it super lean. I have a couple part-time contractors that, I work with and I want them to do a better job for me, right? And I say like part of the issue is you're still not hiring for the idea you have. You're hiring for like the company you think you want to build. And Unicorn Team is about if you really want to make a huge impact and get some uptick in the marketplace when you bring this idea to market, it's really about like who needs to be on that journey with you for that particular idea. And some of it will be your current staff. Some of it will be you're choosing another strategist or somebody to help you. Like in my case, bringing this book to market. This is my big idea right now, which is this book. BBG was one of my unicorns on the journey. Like I wanted to go to the best to help me formulate the right go-to-market strategy for this book. And that's an area of expertise that BBG is a part of. And I'm not just saying that to edify Rory and his team. It's just true. I was using the structure in the book for me, a personal brand, wanting to sell a book or offer a book to the world that would be very helpful and would get traction, right? It was like, I could have easily gone, oh, I'm going to go and study how to do things. And for me, as I thought, this is my idea, who do I need? And I was asking around, I was like, who really knows how to do this? Because there's a lot of people who help with personal brand and books, and many of them are wonderful and qualified, but I wanted to work with the best. And I actually didn't know who the best was. And so our mutual friend and client, Jen Gottlieb, said, do you know Rory Vaden? Do you know Brand Builders Group? you should you should message them. And why I'm bringing this up to answer Rory's question right now is like that's what I was looking for was the who. Who do I really need? If this book is very important to me and there's a reason and I have a vision for my own life and my contribution, and this book is one of the ways that I want to do it, then I want to assemble the right players. And that's how you use the unicorn team framework. So inside of that is there are 9 leadership types that I've identified, and they're based on the concepts of what I
Okay,
call
so
vision. Oh yeah,
hold on a
sorry.
second, because I want to get into the 9, but
Yeah.
you made a distinction that I want to make sure we don't skip over. I want to make sure I understand this and I want to highlight it. Is you're saying it's a sharp distinction. I think this is what I hear you saying is going, I'm not trying to hire the best person for my company. I'm
Hmm.
trying to hire the best person and or team for this idea, for this
Yes,
specific project, for this specific thing. And is that's what you're is that that's what you're saying, right? That's very different.
it is. And I'm saying that when you actually approach it that way, your company is going to grow because it's going to start to really, you're going to really see what the winners really are, meaning the ideas that are the winners and the unicorns that are the winners too, that then you bring on and go, oh, now we really want to operationalize this idea because it's a winner. And so in changing the thinking around what to do first, that's what I'm trying. Yes, you're picking up what I'm throwing down is my point, Rory. Like
Yeah.
that's exactly what
Well, and that's
what I want to
very
throw
it's
in front of
interesting.
people.
And well, another thing too is, you might go like I think about AJ and our journey at Brand Builders Group. We've actually used a lot of fractional people like for the high level people because it's like we can't frankly afford them like especially the
Yeah.
first few years where we were starting out it's just like we can't afford to hire this person full time, but we want that level of expertise
Yes.
on the thing to help us build it. But then it's like they don't have to be on our payroll forever. They're on our payroll for a season. They help
Yes.
us set it up right, set up the system, and then we sort of launch it, and then we sort of transfer it to the team to kind of operationalize into our normal flow. And I've never really like thought about that quite in the way until you're saying it right now.
And that's, I think, something that I felt was that's why I wanted this book to be my first book, because of course people, even the publishers were like, do the thing on the experiences and the events and all these things. And I said, I want to do that. But even if you choose events as a monetization strategy, you still need the right people to help you do that, or else it's a money pit. Like how many people have we heard? We even
Oh
had
yeah.
this conversation on the last podcast episode where it's like people overspend on events. They don't know how to set up the agenda right to be able to make and create this experience. And I tell people that's why it's actually, if the idea is the event, then who are the people? And that's what this book helps support, that because that's a strategy and a structure, but it's not the what I call like the root. Like this is how you like identify like the root, what you need so that you can grow and harvest from the right seeds planted up front. So so yeah, I mean that's really what I feel needed to be taught, and that's why I chose this book first too.
I love it. Okay,
Hmm.
so if I'm a personal brand and I'm launching the thing, you say there's 9 types. My,
Yes.
my my first thought of that is that feels like a lot. Like if I'm launching a new product, a new endeavor, a new idea, as you say, does that mean I need 9 different people as a part of that launch team, like almost like a launch team, because you're calling it the unicorn team, but it's like the group that's helping me bring this new idea to life. Is it's like nine
Hmm.
different people I'm looking for?
No, actually, great question. It's actually the nine motivational energies that exist and that you are not just hiring even fractional people for skills and capabilities. You definitely need to still hire people for skills and capabilities. But it's this third thing that I felt needed to be shared with the world, that there is a natural motivational activating energy that people have that make them want to jump on your team, even if it's just for a season, and really go all in with you.
Hmm.
Okay. And so that's what I'm speaking about in the book, these nine leadership types, and identifying first, because the first unicorn is you. Like in your case, AJ and your business partners, and also life, married and life partners, all the things. But like, I guarantee that part of the magic, if you will, between the two of you is that you both have skills and capabilities in different areas and strengths there, but also different energetic qualities that make the team, like say AJ runs the joint, she's
Totally.
running the company, she's the boss. And so when it comes to like picking the one that I'm like, I can count on AJ because she's got all that operational strategic thinking to run the company efficiently. Whereas Rory is your relationship capital builder. He's that marketing strategist. He's like looking at all the different pieces. Like that alone tells me a lot about what leadership energies each of you has, even
Mhm.
without taking the assessment that I have in the book. So the book has an assessment that helps you
Cool.
identify what is your most primary leadership energy that you lead with, and it gives you insight to why even people follow you, or why you may be repelling people that you wish actually would love to work with you and you're not sure why. And so let's kind of break down those energies real quick, if that's okay, Rory.
Sure.
Um, so the nine energies are based on what I call the core pillars, which are visionizer, strategizer, and mobilizer. Okay, so the V, the S, and the M. You'll hear me refer to it as like the high V, your high S.
Visionizer, strategizer, mobilizer.
Correct.
Okay.
And so the visionizer energy is, they are motivated by their ideas, their vision, the future. They are super, super energized by it. And nothing anyone does to even poo-poo any of it will ever keep them down. They're always talking about their ideas. The strategizer energy is really excited about results and is unapologetic about it, right? So they are interested in your future if you're a visionizer, but they're like, can I actually make this thing work? If I were to get on this team, do I believe that with my natural capabilities as a strategizer, I can actually help this person win? Because they will feel like they're winning too if they get results. And then the third energy is mobilizer, which is this motivated by accomplishment and closing loops daily, right? Those are your executors. Those are the people who are like the doers. And it's not just like admin assistants. These are the copywriters. These are the coders of software. These are people who like to like build and like the details of the building of the thing. And they want to make sure it gets done daily. And so if you know that those are the three core energies, then you're one of those as your primary. So for me, as a personal brand and as a leader of my company, I'm an S. I'm a high S. When I said I can smell the money, when that was kind of my personal brand attributes in the corporate world as an executive, I was like one of those strategizer energies. Like people knew that like I could see the result and then create a plan to get there. And that was like my thing. My second energy is visionizer. Okay. So I can see the future.
Does everybody have a primary and a secondary?
Correct. So it's
Okay.
kind of like, so the nine are, the VV, the VS, the VM, the SS, the SV, the SM, and then the MV, the MS, and the MM. So you see like
Gotcha.
so those are the nine. And the one that you don't have as much energy around, which mine is M, mobilizer energy, yet people will tell me, oh my gosh, you get things to market quickly. Oh my gosh, like you're like everywhere, right? All this omnipresence and whatever. And I'm like, yeah, because actually I am an extremely unorganized person that knows that structure gives me freedom. that structure gives me an opportunity. And so when I hire someone to support my personal brand, I'm like, I need you to feel so comfortable organizing my life. I need your help to organize the systems. I need you to organize the strategies that come out of my mouth and show them back to me so that we can move forward quickly. And because I know that about myself, and that I also even explain that when I hire even a part-time VA, or even, let's say, even if I was hiring a coach for myself, or, shucks, even somebody for my house, like, to do things, because a lot of people will look at you and assume because you are a high performing person, right? Because you're getting yourself out there, that, oh, you must be really good at getting things done. I'm like, I'm only good at getting things done because I'm willing to communicate how I get inspired to keep working. And that is when I have the right people around me filling the gaps that I don't energetically align with. So, like, the book allows you to now test for that, Rory. So it's not that you need nine people. It's like if you are hiring one person and you're a VM, for example,
So you're looking
which
for complementary, like a complementary energy to yours.
correct. And the other thing that makes this book different, I believe, is that, there's a lot of books on time management, which is very important, obviously, right? Getting back your time, making sure you're spending your time wisely. And I agree with all that. However, I think it's incomplete because you can have all the time in the world, but if you are not energized around the work that you're doing, you can get all your time back, but you'll never finish anything, right? We know a lot of people who are stuck in that, who are even pursuing their personal brand. Like, let's say they have this amazing resume and intellectual property that they have and they want to share with the world. But let's say they don't like social media or they don't like content creation, right? So I'm like, you're never really going to like it because that's who you are. Energetically, you're not an M for that. And you have to be an M to be a good content creator naturally, right? It's like you enjoy the editing, the filming, the like making things happen. So instead, if you're probably more like a V in that category, I would say like you need to invest in an M that truly enjoys capturing other people's personal brand, not just their own. They actually like want to do that. Otherwise, you'll never do it. You'll never even get your book done. You'll never, like, you'll talk about it a lot, but you won't get it done, even if you're given all the time in the world. So
So is
that's
the
kind of that
is
piece.
is the general idea here. So I like this idea of like what's your leadership energy, because I think that is a really new distinction from like your skill sets or even your strengths or weaknesses, right? Like I think of Strengths Finder or so
Right.
many of the assessments that's like you know either I guess personality a bit, but you're specifically talking about energy, which feels different.
Hmm.
So is the goal to like have sort of a balance of these energies inside of the project that you're launching, and going like someone needs to be the big picture, somebody needs to be like on feet on the ground, and somebody needs to be like tying those two together?
Yes, exactly. And it's not the number of people, it's like the blend of the energy. So for example, let's say your new project or your new idea is like, I want to start getting some traction on Instagram. If you're a personal brand, let's pretend it's that. And so you know that the person that you need is probably somebody who first, because you don't want to do a content calendar because you're a high V or something, somebody who can do that for you and also do research for you to be like, oh, for your particular personal brand, this is how you really want to be messaging yourself on Instagram. It can be one person. And I like to tell people, if you're just thinking about the blend of energies first, think of it as like V's need more S's and M energy, period, right? They need more strategy and they need more mobilization. So if you know you're a V, and most people are who are personal brands, let's face it, in general, they've got V in the first or the second position, usually.
in in our, I have to tell you this.
Mm.
So we, AJ and I, have our first ever book together coming
Oh,
out
wow.
in
Congrats.
in July, and it's I haven't written a book in 10 years. And
Wow.
so but anyways, we're doing this book together, and so we have a joint bio, and she describes herself as, CEO, co-founder, mom, and she put in her official bio that is like on the inside flap of the book, it will say Chief Wrangler of Rory. That's like what it
See?
is. And it's like, it is what it is. Like, I need lots of wranglers and organizers, and I just like create this giant wake of like stuff to do. And it's like AJ she doesn't even do it. She has to organize the team of people who are like doing it. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
she's
I can see that.
wrangling.
I think I think, and I don't know, you have to take
I'm pretty
the
V.
assessment, but
I think I'm V.
I think you're a VS. And the other, AKA, we call them the legend, okay, in the book. So I'm a SV, which is the mastermind. Okay, so I'm kind of like that. I can smell the money, I can plot all the pieces, and I love hooking my caboose to a visionizer's train, like somebody who has big vision, because I can see the complementary energy. Whereas like with you, I definitely see you're like high V, but you're definitely like a master strategizer too. Like you have this extremely strategic mind. And whereas with AJ, just even from the bio that I can see that she has high M, which is, it doesn't mean just doing, but it means like organization doesn't overwhelm her. It
Oh yeah.
doesn't, she, in fact,
Organization is her love
it
language.
excites her. And
Yeah.
that's an M energy. And again, in this world of entrepreneurship and personal brand, I think one of the most, and I'm going to say the word dangerous things out there is like, oh, just delegate what you're not good at. And I'm like, actually, delegate what you cannot energetically muster yourself to do instead, because it's, anything can be learned, but trying to create energy is a little bit different. And I put a lot of the research and science in the book, so we won't like go down that rabbit hole, but like it's really about that. And so when I think of AJ, I mean, she's probably an MV or an MS. We'll see. And I wanted to point that out because when people think of V, they think, oh, visionary. And I'm not talking about visionaries. I'm talking about visionizer energy. That's different. Visionizer is about action. The izing part, visionary is about kind of like a moniker, right? It's like, oh, that person's a visionary, right? But they're a visionary, but they might not be a visionizer. Okay. Example, Martha Stewart. I use her in the book. I talk about how Martha Stewart is a high M, and we call her a visionary, right? She's a legend. She's somebody who has been doing a lot of things and been through a lot of things, and she's still going. She's over 80 and very vibrant, right? And my point about Martha is she's an M. She loves the details. She's hyper organized. And so people would be like, oh, but wait, she's a doer. So she's not a visionary, right? And I'm like, no, she is a visionary, but she's motivated by mobilizer energy. And that's the distinction in
Mhm.
my book, is like, it's not about visionary versus integrator, which is a valid concept for operational thinking. I'm talking about like what creates a movement. It's these energies coalescing together to make the idea come to life.
It's funny that you talk about energy because like one of the only times that AJ gets frustrated. Well, she gets frustrated with me more than here and there, but like she hates brainstorming. Like
Oh,
we've discovered this after working together for now whatever 20 years, that it's like she actually doesn't enjoy brainstorming, and she has said, like, I now have to say, okay, we're having a brainstorming, because her mind immediately goes to, well, we can't implement that, or how would we implement that, or that would create so much stress to execute it. It's like she she loses energy by even thinking about the idea, because she can't disconnect the idea from all the work it would take to implement it, and she just, her just brain, everything, her energy just goes there. And it's actually a really, she loses energy from
see.
brainstorming. Doesn't mean she's
Mm.
not like a visionary. Like she sees the big picture and what we're doing at Brand Builders Group, but she's just like, go sort out your idea and bring it to me when you're ready to talk about how we could execute it, and like we're good. But it's like she doesn't want to be in the early pie in the sky stuff.
She sounds like a VM to me, which is awesome. And that's why you guys have a successful business, and probably marriage too. Because, we know those are all based on also values and principles and beliefs, but it's also about like, is there synergy? Can we get through hard things
Yeah.
together? It works in your business and your personal life, I like to say. But it's a business book, so I tell people the little secret is, if you kind of like reflect on, whoa, where are my relationships with other people also, where we've created magic, whether it's in a marriage or in a friendship, it's kind of the same principles apply. But I love the magic of it behind when great ideas come to life. So I'm with you. It's so funny because my COO too, she's like, can we talk about it after you've thought it out? And in the book, that's why I go, idea, unicorn, meaning the person or the who. And the third piece is how do you communicate it so that everyone gets on the same page? And that's the third piece of the book, which is the three tools that you use to be able to turn the idea into something. And I think AJ will appreciate it because it's like, first part is what we call a brand cast, which is like, how do we take all of Rory's great ideas? And I call it idea storming instead of brainstorming in the book. Like, and then how do we sort it out so that everybody can see the vision that you've cast, and then we turn it into what we call a stratagem, which is really your campaign plan. And the stratagem is like, what is the plan to get there? And I think AJ would be way more interested in that because now it's taken some shape and form. And then she's willing to come to the table and be like, okay, now I want to understand what y'all want to do here because you've done a little bit more work past the vision piece. And then the third piece is what we call prototyping. And prototyping is this magic tool that makes your team start to read your mind. And we all want our team to read our mind. Like it's right. Like we're always like, God, I wish they would just understand the words coming out of my mouth, you know? And prototyping is not the product. It's actually a process where your mobilizers can show you work, especially to the visionizer energy people. Like, hey, is this what you meant? Is this what you meant? So that they don't have to keep going back and iterating your crazy thoughts. And mobilizers love this tool in my book because they're like, oh, thank you for giving us a tool where we can talk to visionizers better so that we can actually not get frustrated that we can't move into action because that's all they want to do. They just want to move into action. They don't want to hear about the idea anymore. So
Mm-hmm.
I tried to make this book very whole, you know, and the original subtitle actually was Rory. And that's why I love that you asked the question about the nine. Do we need nine people? Because I literally said, I want the subtitle to be how to rally the right people around your big ideas so you can change the world together. That was
Mm.
originally the subtitle, and they didn't like it. And I was like, I feel like that's the energy of the book is like how to rally other people around your next big idea so you can all change the world together.
I
That's
love
what
that.
this book really is about.
Yeah, that feels really, really clear. I like the distinction that you said about don't just delegate what you're good at. No, don't just delegate what you're not good at. Delegate what doesn't give you energy.
Yes.
That's a really sharp distinction, and one I don't think people give enough. Because I'm actually like, I'm not too bad at budgets and stuff. My undergrad was accounting, and but it's like it doesn't give me energy to do that,
Right,
and that's
right.
because if you're just doing things you're good at but you don't love, you just burn out even though you're not good at them. And it's so I think that's really interesting is to think about, does this task give me energy? Like, is it life-giving or is it life-taking? And if it's
Exactly.
life-taking, give it to someone else. And what blows my mind is there's always someone who wants to do it. The things you hate
Yes.
doing, there's somebody out there that loves doing it.
But here's the other, I think for me, what interesting for personal brands, some personal brands actually, again, love content creation, love it. I actually personally don't love creating content. I love the output back to, so I will do it because I'm linking it to my results because I'm an S, right? So it's like, but think about this, like a lot of personal brands get stuck because they're going, I have to be more V thinking, a visionary thinker. I need to be like not doing the content creation. But if the content creation actually gives you energy, that's something you should still be doing and not delegating as much. Maybe instead you need to go find more of like an AJ person, right? Who's like on the all the other things to organize, like project management, making sure that we're staying on our deadlines and all those things. But a lot of times we're even told like, hey, what you're naturally good at, let it go because now you're the CEO or now you're the you're the thought leader or the personal brand. And I'm like, actually, I think that's not as efficient or optimal, and that's what my book gives permission for you to be. Like, be, if you love content creation, like I think of like mutual friends, like we know like Jasmine Star, who is like epic at photography and strategizing all the content pieces, and I'm always in awe of her ability to like do that, and she's the one who mainly does it, and I could tell it just gives her energy to do it.
Yeah.
And so that's the other side of that coin that you're speaking of.
I love it. I love it.
Hmm.
Um, so I got one last question for you. Before I ask you that, just where do people go if they want to learn about the book and keep up with you and for more info on helping build their own unicorn team?
Yeah. So number one, I mean, obviously the easiest thing to do is go to Amazon. Most of us like go there, and the book's available in all the booksellers online. And if it's not in your local bookstore, ask them to order it for you. Like it's available wherever books are sold, Amazon being the easiest place to find it currently. And then if you want to know more, you can go to unicornteambook.com. It gives you a lot of like other things that I didn't get to share here, that tell you about the book and tells you also all the places you can get it. And then my favorite places to hang out, if you will, to kind of chat and talk anything unicorn is LinkedIn and YouTube specifically. But on Instagram is definitely me in the DMs. So if you like, find me over there, and you want to ask a question, it's actually me responding over there.
I love it. I love it.
Hmm.
So my last question for you, Jen, is just to go like, if you think about personal brands applying this sort of leadership energy to their futures, what, you know, what's the biggest mistake you see them make that you would encourage them not to do in this particular area around finding the right people, finding the right idea, activating, their energy of all the people? Like, what do you think is kind of the biggest mistake that you would just say, like, just don't do this?
I'd say don't abandon your identity in the relationship to team, especially as people are telling you to scale and grow, which you probably want to do. But scaling and growing, if you abandon yourself in that,
Mm.
it's going to be difficult for you to have the energy to go to the next level. Because as I like to say, you're going to hit the next level, you're going to meet a new devil. And when you meet that new devil, you need to know what to deal with. You need to know how to face that devil. And it's really about you feeling that energetic strength to push through the right hard thing for the next right thing. And so don't abandon yourself. A team includes you. That's the bottom line. And you are the core and the nucleus of the team as the personal brand and as the founder of the ideas that you're bringing into the world.
I love that. I think that's what one of the things that will stick with me from this is just doing the things that give me energy and the permission to keep those things and embrace those things and not think, oh, as we grow, I have to do these other types of things. So that's really, really powerful. Well, I'm a huge fan of you. I've learned so much from you. I'm so excited about this, the book, all the things that you're up to. And, when we get around to like doing our events and bigger events, it's like you will be on that unicorn team. It's like, I got to call Jen because I know she just knows how to activate, an event. So, we wish you the best. Thank you for letting us be a part of the journey. Thanks for the time today and keep crushing it, friend.
Thanks, Rory. I'm so grateful for you. Thanks for being a unicorn in my life too.